Sports betting brethren, hey, thanks for stopping by here. I'm Boyd. I'm with Oddsjam.com, and Oddsjam helps you make mathematical, profitable decisions and gives you a lot of good insights to help you with your betting experience. Now, today again, we're talking about BetMGM and BetMGM's sort of advanced options and advanced choices and different things you might get into at a little bit different level after you've kind of gotten accustomed and used to opening that account and placing some basic bets. So that's what I hope to do, is share a lot of knowledge and insight to add to your experience and help you with that site navigation and kind of help you go into some areas that you may not have been familiar with, and hopefully add to the value for you in your BetMGM time. So let's get going. Okay, guys, here we go with the advanced version of BetMGM. And again, I'm in Colorado. You're going to see the state up here in the upper left-hand corner. In the beginner, the starter video, we just kind of showed you how to get enrolled, get started, get funded, place a few simple bets, and go from there. Definitely want to download the app. The app for your smartphone is a very, very easy to use and navigate phone app, and it's very, very similar, if not a mirrored version of this on the laptop. So again, top left, we're getting into the live wagering. I want to talk about that. I want to talk about promos. I want to talk about alternative lines, alternative spreads, and other wagers you can get into. So we'll just kick it off with a live wagering. And live wagering or live betting is becoming a lot more, prevalent or frequent. Kind of goes hand in hand with a lot of the DFS, the daily fantasy sports that people are getting into. But once the game started and kicked off, you can go into that live button and you can identify which games are available. This is going on right now as we speak. Certainly a little bit later this evening, you can get into some NBA and some college games, but even some NHL. But this is where you would go and you would hit that sport for what you're looking for. So if you're looking to get into an NBA live game, it would open this up for you, and it'll allow you to get in through this piece here, this button here. So that's where you would go to get that. You can bet on totals, spreads, all kinds of things, and it's a very, very interactive thing. You have to keep up and move quickly on that. You have to move very, very quickly. So I highly recommend you get yourself set up and prepared to react quick, so you can take advantage of the lines in conjunction with the Oddsjam. Oddsjam has live betting information for you, so you want to help yourself by using those tips out of the gate. And that's where we'll start first, is at the live button. Next up, I wanted to cover the promos. The promos are constant, guys, and it's a great source or great way to earn additional income on your wagering, because a lot of these are mathematically profitable wagers. You can see they have the ability for you to wager on various sports, various situations, and they're very interactive as well. So I want to remind you to stop by the promotions page, and you'll get emails and notifications on these continuously, but definitely want to take advantage of them. And once again, using Oddsjam, you can make a really smart wager using some of the information in conjunction with BetMGM. But BetMGM does a nice job of offering a ton of different promos, and you want to use that to your advantage. Next thing I want to get into is alternative lines, alternative spreads. And people are like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by alternative lines, alternative spreads? So I'm going to go ahead and click in here to the NFL, and we're going to check out a couple of games. And this is very important because let's say, for example, you had your eye on a game and a particular line and you missed it. Let's say, for example, you were really wanting to get, let's say in this case, the Colts at a different number. Okay, here's the button that you hit for all wagers to get into the alternative lines. Okay, and if you click on this button where it says all wagers, what's going to happen is this will open up a screen, and it does it on your phone, does it for you here on the computer version, but you can get into different point spreads, different totals, and things like that. And so, for example, if you wanted to wager on under 23.5 for the first half, you could. And I'm going to scroll up here so you can get a little better idea. Here's a first half wager, and actually do a full game. Okay, so if you scroll down here and you wanted to have the full game, or this would be actually a half. This is how many points New England would score. So if you wanted to wager on how many points that team would score, you want to do a combined alternative line, you could. I'm going to try to find that for you here as I'm scrolling. I just basically want to show you where you find this because, you can have alternative totals. Here we go. We're finding it. Again, this is why we're doing the video. It takes a little while to get comfortable and familiar and to look a little bit different with the cell phone. But I use this quite often just because, let's say, for example, you missed a line, you missed a number, a key number you wanted to get into. This is where you're going to find the alternative section to bet on that. So use this quite a bit, especially in the NFL. It'll give you the odds in conjunction with that particular scenario. So if you wanted to go over 23.5, but this would be a first half line, under, you get the odds right along with it. And it's something you're going to use quite often. You do use this also in other sports. We'll pull up an NBA chart here for you to take a look at real quick. So again, you'd pull up the NBA schedule for today. And let's just go right back to our Suns Blazers game. Again, all wagers. It's kind of hiding over there. I bring it up because it's very difficult to find if you don't know what you're looking for. So here we are. Here's the main lines, main game information. We're going to go to alternative totals. You can also do halves, quarters, obviously. And again, full game. If you wanted to hit the over 209.5 versus 214.5, you can. If you wanted to, show more, get different odds on different totals, you would hit that button and pull that up. And so again, it'll give you the price, so to speak, the plus 105 on the over under 221.5. If you wanted to go under 222.5, it costs you minus 140. If you wanted to go over, it'd be plus 115. So there you go. That's a really good way to sort of shop for what you're looking for specifically. Let's pop into the spreads here real quick and I'll show you how that works. Again, this line was about Phoenix minus 1.5, but you can see here, if you thought Phoenix was just going to blow them out and win by 10, you could take that. You could bet on that. It's almost, it's like an options chain, right? I mean, if you want it in the money, out of the money, at the money, this is basically what this is. This is an options chain, and you're investing at sort of the price point where you want to be, and you'll get different payouts accordingly. So something that you can use to your advantage to gain some value if you feel strongly that you want to go that route. And again, as a reminder, you'll have a bet slip over here to your right, so it helps you keep track of your wagers. Further over here, you see halves, quarters, things like that. And then, of course, as you do the drop down, you get into player props, which is the last one I wanted to touch on. So this is also something that Oddsjam helps with and has good key information on player props. It's pretty fun. It's very interactive. As you can see here, you can get turnover, steals, blocks, rebounds, assists. The sky's the limit, right? So the way you would read this one's actually points. If you thought Lillard was going to be over 23.5, you could. Let's say you want to go into rebounds and you wanted to check something out along those lines. You could do that as well. If you thought Lillard was going to be over 4.5, you get plus money at plus 100. But again, using Oddsjam in conjunction with this tool helps you identify some good locations or good markets to jump into. The player props market, total spreads, alternative lines. Big into hockey, definitely alternative lines in NHL. So you'd want to consider something along those lines. Did find an important tip I wanted to pass along here before we end this video. In golf, on the player side, if you are saying that certain players, say Mickelson's going to finish top 20 and there's a tie, BetMGM is one of the only sports books that pays you for that number. So if there's 5 guys that tied at number 8 or number 10 or whatever the cutoff was, they actually pay you much better than a lot of other sites. So this is definitely a good site to use for golf if you're into that. But things like that, you'll find niches, and you want to get going right away on using both the phone app and the laptop or the home computer on all this. But hopefully this helps you navigate some of the player props, some of the alternative lines, alternative totals, some of the promos, and again, some of the things you might want to add to your experience with BetMGM. And again, as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave us a note below, and we'll be happy to follow it up and help you out so you have a better experience at BetMGM and Oddsjam. Thanks, guys.